Wise Virgin, I see you. Hashemi Havalahim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Warahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Father's peace, blessing, and mercy be upon you. Teresa Springer, I see you. Minister Morel, I see you. It's very tabah to have you here. Hashemi Havalahim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Warahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. We've had 1,000 technical difficulties to get to this moment today. Had to do some system resets and whatnot. Yes, we were planning to start up about 45 minutes ago. That didn't quite work out, so here we are. Elder Tamaria, I see you. It's very tabah to have you here. Hashemi Havalahim, Shalom Barak, Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Warahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy upon you and your family, the circle. It's for everyone here. Yesterday, we stopped off reading Jews 2. And we actually were 9 pages short from the end. I proposed for us to start up early so that we could do a makeup. But also I want to prepare for us to actually be able to finish a whole Jews in a day. We don't need to be backing up, and catching up every time. That kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to prove here. Excuse me just a moment. I am in the midst of setting up the studio. Welcome to Nomad Studio. Let's see here. The news of Petty. Hashem Yahavalahim. Speak life into the loved ones. Mr. Steve, I see you. It's very tabah to have you here. Hashem Yahavalahim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Warahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Hey, can you all let me know if you can hear me? I'm sitting in front of a parking lot, and if I need to, I'll raise my voice. Excuse me for a second. I'm about to move around and get some stuff situated. Got to grab the Quran out of the backpack. The phones are leaning on the backpack. So thank you all for being here. Give me just a moment. We're going to get started. Party for just a moment. I want to make sure the phones don't fall down. All right, we're going to be in a kind of precarious angle because we're sitting on the bench. Kohelet is doing a series talking about dispelling the lies. In order to reverse the curse, you have to expose the lies. So that's what we're doing. Let me find my glasses because I can't read what you all are saying, as Ahmad Trucker would say. Akati Mavis, I see you. It's very tabah to have you here. Hashem Yahavalahim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, Warahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy to everyone who is here receiving the message. For those who will come later, it's time for a party. In today's party, We're actually in a pretty nice covering, so if we do push to sunset, we'll have more light than we did last night. I'm going to do my best to get us to where we can actually go through the whole Jews for the day and even have time to review in between. I know I'm stopping here and there to actually speak on certain sections. I have to. I don't want you all just sitting here listening to me read a whole bunch of verses. I need you all to understand what's going on. I know some of y'all, this is the first time you've even heard anything coming out of the Quran. Now, please understand, if you go all the way back to the first live broadcast, as far as all of this is concerned, we started out, let's get into the Quran, because we needed to find out the correlations. We don't just say, Ishmael is the cousin of Isaac, or the brother of Isaac, therefore we're all cool and we're all family. No, we need to find out who was practicing what standards. We need to find out what's really in those history books. We need to become intimate with the history, the law, the precedents, the stories, the lineage. If we're going to claim a faith, if we're going to claim a lifestyle, if we're going to claim a culture and say that we are a nation, we all need to be standing on the same words. In modern terms, they say that there's the Abrahamic faith. They say that Judaism, Christianity, and Muslims all follow under the same religion. A religion is a practice done by a multitude of people on regular occasions. Now, just because people practice a certain thing does not mean that's actually what's going on. So we have separated ourselves. We say that we are Paleo-Hebrew. We say that we are Proto-Canaan. Well, you still have to know what your culture is. It's not just about saying some words. Your culture is how you live, your way of life. Everything that you do from the moment you're awake to the moment you go to sleep. And even while you're asleep, by faith, you're asking for Tabah dreams, so that when you wake up the next day, you're in the right mindset to be able to go out and do what you're supposed to do. Let's get back to the principles. You all excuse me? My shoulder is mad at me. So you're gonna see me doing all kinds of crazy stretches. It's because this muscle back here is not just a muscle. It's deeply into the nerve itself. I'm fighting going to get some naproxen. I really don't want to go get a salt pill, but that's all that it is. This is my nerve ending. This is sciatic nerve talking to me. Earlier it was up here. Kind of still is. It moves around a little bit. At least it's not in the back of my leg right now, you know. In case you didn't know, yes, I do like these. By the way, it's time for a PSA. Don't go around here talking about you're going to go on a strike from buying something. To go on a strike means that you have stopped working. So are you telling me that your employment is to be a consumer? And if you're going to boycott something, you don't announce it. You don't make it just one day. You want to make somebody feel it? Don't contribute to them. Know how I know? I feel it every day. Public service announcement. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. We seek the protection of our Father against shaitan and the evil ways while we travel the divine path. I have friends who are small farmers in a certain region. They grow tea. Now, if I happen to be in that region, I'd be buying some tea from them. But I'm not. I'm about 300-400 miles away from them right now. and I haven't been in contact with them for about 4 years. Trying to get all this stuff situated, y'all. Pardon me. I know it's probably scraping all across the speakers, and y'all hearing all kinds of crazy sounds. Okay. Looking for a little bit of stability. All right. Customarily, I would read off every name as soon as everybody comes in the room. I'm not necessarily going to be able to do that today. Besides the fact I need to actually be concentrating on reading. Let's see here. Fred was. Maybe that's Washington, or maybe it's just was. Willie Jackson. Leroy McDurrott. Papa C. Excuse me. Novlet Watson. Donna Corvette. Miss Twisted Angel. Me, or Nay. Lisa Carmichael. Mort. Sheila. Bob. Clifton. Hashem Yahab Alahim. Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Warahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who catches this message. Thank you all for being here. Tada. Shukran. Grazie. Gracias. Spasibo. Ashante. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and open this up. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta 'alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim walad dallin. Ameen. In the name of our Father, the most merciful, the most compassionate, all praises are due to our Father, the creator of our deen, the most merciful, the most compassionate. We ask that you forgive us whenever we disobey like others have done before us. We ask you to teach us how to forgive others the way that you forgive us. And we thank you for the divine path. Ameen. And at this point, I am going to take my glasses off because I'm nearsighted. That's why I said, no, I'm not going to be able to give a special shout out every time somebody comes in the room. Bismillah. All right. All right, let's go. The sacred month in which fighting is prohibited is to be respected if the same is respected by the enemy. Sacred things, too, are subject to retaliation. Therefore, if anyone transgresses a prohibition and attacks you, retaliate with the same force. Fear Allah and bear in mind that Allah is with the righteous. You may have heard of some of the sacred months. There's actually 4, according to the Hajj calendar. The Hajj calendar is the pilgrimage calendar. That's the calendar that was set after Muhammad Allahu Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the other Muslims left Mecca to go to Medina. That became the calendar. It's not the same calendar as the one Muhammad was already using. Put a pin in that. Give generously for the cause of Allah, and do not cast yourselves into destruction by your own hands. Be charitable. Allah loves those who are charitable. Complete the Hajj, obligatory pilgrimage to Mecca, and the Umrah, optional visit to Mecca for the sake of Allah. If you are prevented from proceeding, then send such offering for a sacrifice as you can afford, and do not shave your head until the offerings have reached their destination. But if any of you is ill or has an ailment in his scalp, which necessitates shaving, he must pay ransom, either by fasting or feeding the poor or offering a sacrifice. If in peacetime anyone wants to take the advantage of performing Umrah and Hajj together, he should make an offering which he can afford. But if he cannot afford it, he should fast 3 days during the Hajj and 7 days on his return, making 10 days in all. This order is for the one whose household is not in the precincts of Al-Masjid Al-Haram. Fear Allah and know that Allah is strict in retribution. Let's put a pin in that because I need to tell you all a few things. Like I said yesterday, if you know anything about Farsi language, I want you to pay attention to that name. That same black cube that the people are walking around, the name of that place, Al-Masjid Al-Haram. I'm not going to spell everything out for you. As a matter of fact, since everybody's on their etymology, this is not a spell. This is go get some information. Go find out what haram means. Because there's going to be some more things talked about in this story concerning that. Also, there's this. We all remember what was going on back in 2020 when the whole world was going through an ailment. Well, there was a situation because the Muslims were trying to figure out how are they going to go on pilgrimage if the whole world was shut down. And they were told, stay home. Well, there was a big rebellion about it. I'm not saying there was a big rebellion in Mecca and anything like that. There was a big rebellion worldwide because people refused to stay home in the midst of contagion. The passage that I just read was something simple, saying that if you happen to be sick, if you happen to not be able to make it, if you feel ill any kind of way, if you know that you're not going to be able to fast the full amount, will pay homage. Now, they're saying pay a certain percentage. I don't know where this payment would go to, because there shouldn't be a cash register at Al-Masjid Al-Haram. Put a pin in that. All right? Also, behind the scenes story, let's remember something. Ibrahim defeated some kingdoms and then came across Mecca with his son Ishmael. They did not build the Kaaba. Some people will say that, but no. Ibrahim destroyed some kingdoms in that area and then came back and said, this now belongs to the order of Melchizedek. Everything that we do, you all will have to practice too. This is the standard. That is not the standard that they were practicing before Ibrahim had to come through there with several other teams and forces to take out those kingdoms that were practicing polytheism, including the people at Mecca, where there were 99 statues. And he came and said, no, we're going to take all that out. It's going to be the office of Yahweh Elohim. That's only one. Keep that in mind. Don't have me just reading off some words. And please go read it for yourself as well. Trucker, I see you. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's very excited to have you here. Augie, I see you. AK-47, I see you. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allahu assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please understand something. Mecca was a tourist center with 99 idols. You could pick and choose whatever you wanted to worship. You pick and choose what time you come. That's not the standard of Yahweh Elohim. That's not the standard of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm reading this for a reason. There's the real standard, and then there's the traditions that people have added on and practiced. It's not the same thing. Hajj is in the well-known months. One who undertakes to perform it must abstain from husband-wife relationship, obscene language, and wrangling during Hajj. Whatever tabah you do, Allah knows. Take necessary provisions with you for the journey, and piety is the best provision of all. Fear me, O people, endowed with understanding. There is no blame on you if you seek the bounty of your Rabb during this journey. When you return from Arafat, stop at Muzdalifah and praise Allah near Mushar al-Haram. Praise Him as He has guided you, for before this you were from the people who had lost the right way. Then return from where the people return and seek Allah's forgiveness. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. When you have fulfilled your sacred duties, praise Allah as you used to praise your forefathers, or with deeper reverence. There are some who say, Our Rabb, give us abundance in this world. Such people will not have any share in the hereafter. But there are others who say, Our Rabb, give us the Tabah life, the holy life, the lawful life, both in this world and in the hereafter, and save us from the torment of fire. Such people shall have their due share in both worlds according to what they have earned. Allah is swift in settling the accounts. Celebrate the praises of Allah during these appointed days. There is no sin if anyone hastens to leave Mina after 2 days, and there is no sin to stays there a day longer, provided he spends these days in piety. Fear Allah and remember that you will surely be gathered before Him. That's where we closed off yesterday. What do we say when we open our eyes? I come from Allah. I shall return to Allah. May Allah be pleased when I return. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah praise to our source of sustenance and mercy. What do we say before we go to sleep? The same thing. What do we say when we hear that a new child has been brought into this world? The same thing. What do we say when we hear a soul has left and has returned to Allah? The same thing. Come from Allah, shall return to Allah. May Allah be pleased when I return. Please seal me on the path at all times. I mean, Lamar McLemore, Edwin, CEO owner, Larry Armour, Stephen somebody, who's that? Stephen Haynes, D43574 or Vendette. Okay. Yazzie, Linval White, Hashim Yahav Alahim, Shalom Barak, Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who catches this message. Among the people there is one whose speech fascinates you in this world of life. He may even call upon Allah to witness what's in his heart. Yet, he is your staunch opponent. And when he leaves you, he directs his efforts towards causing mischief in the land, destroying crops and cattle. Allah, whom he makes his witness, does not like mischief. When it is said to him, fear Allah, arrogance carries him off to sin. Hell will be the proper place for such a person, which is indeed an evil refuge. And among people there is one who would give away his life to seek the pleasure of Allah. Allah is affectionate to his devotees. Shout out to Kohelet. You don't have to tell the people you don't have a heaven and a hell. We don't have anything. Our Father owns everything. And yes, heaven and hell are both here now. There are some people who are asleep now because they're waiting for those who they affected in life to be able to stand judgment as well. We're not going to get snatched up in the middle of our sleep just to go and place witness against somebody who has passed away. No, it'll be our turn to pass away as well. Generations get judged at a time. We can't get judged for the things that Ibrahim or Moses did because they've already came and gone. They left their mark. We read that yesterday too. We won't be judged on the things that they did. That's why we can't sit around and argue about it. The best that we have is this information in front of us, right? And it's right there written, concrete. For every fool out there talking about they want to have multiple wives so they can have a whole bunch of children, did you not check out all of the turmoil that happened? Because the children didn't come from just two women. There were about 4 or 5 women involved. And because of that, all you got was a bunch of siblings arguing over their birthrights. That sounds like a bunch of trouble to me. Now, what about if we all started teaching our firstborn and also any other child that was born the traditions according to standards of Yahweh Elohim? All your children, not just the first. Don't just send the first to the temple. Each child. Because dare I say, that was a tradition that somebody started. It didn't say anything about, well, Adam just taught Abel. Adam just taught Cain. Adam taught Seth some things that he didn't teach Abel and Cain. I don't think that's in the scripture. Everybody gets taught. Brother of mine is named Math. Yes, Math. Break down peace. Please educate Allah's children equally. Now, we've decided that not every being walking around is actually Yahweh Elohim's child, because even though Yahweh Elohim may have given creation to everything, not everyone adheres to the standards. Therefore, that's a disobedient child, which is basically one that would be cut off. You do not represent the family. So those who adhere to the standards of Yahweh Elohim, please educate Allah's children equally. Please educate Elohim's children equally. John Small, I see. Hashem Yahweh Elohim Shalom Baqarat. The enmity between Yah's seed and the seed of the adversary. Exactly what I'm talking about. Who is the adversary? The adversary is one who will tell you to run away from your accountability. The adversary is one who will tell you that there's no consequence for the things that you do. That's the adversary. So let's look at the fact that a firstborn knocked off self-accountability, dropped it off to another sibling, and then even out of the wedlock and the childbirth that came from those unions, it wasn't the firstborn that received going to the temple out of the children of Yahashariah. I don't think Levi was the firstborn. Just a shout out. Take note. Keep your pens and your notebooks at hand. Let's go. Oh, believers, enter into Islam completely and do not follow the footsteps of Shaitan. Surely he is your open enemy. If you falter after receiving the clear message, then keep in mind that Allah is mighty, wise. Are they waiting for Allah to come down to them in the shadow of clouds, along with the angels, and make his decision known? Ultimately, all matters will be presented to Allah for decision. Ask the children of Israel, how many clear signs have we given them? Anyone who substitutes the favor of Allah changes the revelations of Allah after it has come to him. should know that Allah is strict in retribution. If you know, for everybody that runs around here talking about, Lord spoke to me. I got a message to deliver because the Lord spoke to me. If you know that you're supposed to be a vessel, if you change anything about what you were supposed to be doing and saying, you're going to be living life like Jonah. Y'all remember Yanas? Yana had a few issues. You see, first of all, he was told he had to leave his city where he was comfortable and go amongst the enemy and tell them that they were living foul. And he was like, no, I'm not trying to do all of that. So he ran here and there and everywhere he went, it was just trouble. So much trouble in the world. Until he finally did what he was supposed to do. And that's after he got spat out onto a beach. Might as well go on and resign. Do what I'm supposed to do. Go on and resign that hard heart. If you know what your mission is, and you half step, you see there's an angel on this shoulder. It's writing down everything you're thinking. Then there's an angel on this shoulder. It's writing down everything that you say and everything that you do. When you go to sleep at night, those angels go off to report. Yahweh Elohim asked them, what's been up to? This. Okay. He's about to wake up. Go back. That's why when you wake up, you say, I come from Yahweh Elohim, I shall return to Yahweh Elohim. May Yahweh Elohim be pleased. Because there's already some traffic going on. Who knows that story about being able to see the angels going back and forth between heaven and earth? Walk with me, talk with me. Let's go. Mankind was one nation having one religion. Later, when people invented other religions, Allah appointed prophets as bearers of Tabah news and warnings, and revealed to them the book with the true guidance to settle the matters of dispute between people. But the very people to whom it was given started disputes after the clear arguments had come to them, because of rivalry between one another. Allah has guided the believers by His will to the truth in those matters in which they had differences. Allah guides whom He pleases towards the right way. Now, what does that tell you? It means that if you see someone who spends the majority of their time arguing, compare them to the person who spends the majority of their time doing work, applying their talents to give a service or a product to another person who may or may not be a citizen of the kingdom of Yahweh Elohim. There's the one who wants to argue, and then there's the one who wants to actually do work. Arguments are still not the food of faith. That's just you wanting to run your mouth. I don't know how much work you could possibly do running your mouth, except for unless you're trying to give the full righteous message, because that's our mission. And it takes more than just talking. This is not about, we got to make sure we got the right name so that everybody around the world knows the name. Along with that sound of the name is a shem. That shem is the authority. The authority tells you what's being deemed over. What is the whole of the scenario? Not just what tongue somebody wants to grasp on. Are you so small-minded that you think our Creator only speaks in the tongue that you've chosen? Who do you think made all the tongues? And who do you think has decided that there's going to be all types of communication? Some of you can't even communicate with that sound that you're trying to use. Think about the one who made all of that. Birds don't have any problems. What's your issue? A cardinal can tell a blue jay to get away from my nest. What's your problem? Do you think that you will enter paradise without any trials while you have known the examples of those who passed away before you? They were afflicted with suffering and adversity, and were so violently shaken up that even the Rasul and the believers with him cried out, "When will Allah's help come?" Then they were comforted with the words, "Be aware, Allah's help is ever close." They ask you what they should spend in charity. Say, whatever you spend with a tabah heart, a holy heart, a whole heart, a righteous heart, a lawful heart. Whatever you spend with a righteous heart, give it to parents, relatives, orphans, the helpless, and travelers in need. Whatever tabah you do, Allah is aware of it. Fighting has been made obligatory for you, much to your dislike. It is quite possible that something which you do not like is tabah for you, and that something which you love is bad for you. Allah knows and you do not know. So for everybody that's running around here talking about let Yahweh do your battles, once again, you're sadly mistaken. Your mission is to go out and do battle every day. What's your shield? Your knowledge of the standards of Yahweh Elohim. What's your sword? The same thing. The truth. What's on your feet? You're being carried with peace. Your belt, righteousness. You're girded up with righteousness. You got your armor on. So you telling me you're going to put on a whole full suit of armor and you don't want to go to battle? Don't come near me with that. Do not come near me with that. I'm going to treat you like you just knelt in front of a creek and put your face in the water instead of cupping your hands. You do not get to walk with me. Write that down in your notebook. They ask you about war in the second month. Tell them, fighting in this month is a big offense. It's like fighting in the month after Passover. But to prevent from the path of Allah, to deny Him, to prevent an access to and expel His worshippers from Al-Masjid Al-Haram are more severe crimes in the sight of Allah, and mischief is worse than killing. As for unbelievers, they will not cease fighting until they succeed in turning you back from your religion, if they can. If any of you turns back from his religion and dies as an unbeliever, his deeds will become void in this life and in the hereafter. He will be the inmate of hellfire, to live in there forever. Surely those are believers, migrated and struggled. Surely those who are believers, migrated and struggled in the path of Allah. They can hope for the mercy of Allah. Allah is forgiving, merciful. This surah was spoken after they were chased out of Mecca and had to go to Medina. And the question was asked, well, how are we going to do the pilgrimage if they're talking about they're going to kill us when we go back? So the message is, anybody that prevents you from doing the pilgrimage is the evil one. Anyone who prevents you from walking with righteousness. That's why there was a clause given. Okay, well, if you don't have the chance to be able to go to Medina, put some treasures to the side. Make sure that you still fast and still make sure that you feed somebody else. Do these things because that's what's going to be within your spirit. That's within your love. Because that's what you would be doing if you were in Medina. You're fellowshipping with everybody else. Oh, you don't have anything to eat? I got something to eat. Here you go. You're sharing. You're walking around praising and worshiping and praying. And if you're on Hajj, then no, you don't eat from sun up to sundown. It's during that 30-day period. They call it Ramadan. Some. That's according to the lunar calendar. That's not the solar lunar astral calendar. That's just the lunar calendar. That's why Ramadan as a month changes in phases. It goes with the moon. Selah. They ask you about drinking and gambling. Tell them, there's great sin in both. Although they may have some benefit for men, but the sin is greater than the benefit. They ask you what they should spend. Tell them, whatever you can. Thus, Allah makes His revelations clear to you, so that you may reflect upon this world and the hereafter. They ask you about orphans. Tell them, it is best to look for their welfare. And if you mix your affairs with theirs, become co-partners, then they are your brothers. Allah knows who means harm and who means their welfare. If Allah wanted, He could be hard on you in this matter. Surely Allah is mighty, wise. You know all those children that are pushed over into orphanages and treated all foul? It's not supposed to be happening. You know those elderly matrons and patrons who spent all their time in life doing what they were doing in life, whether it was tabah or not. You're not supposed to push them off into some old folks' home. You're supposed to look after them. Treat them with the respect and dignity that they should have had throughout life. It shouldn't end just because they reached a certain age. We should be treated with respect and dignity from the moment we walk into this place until the moment we leave. Y'all want to talk about civil rights? You need to figure out what soul rights are. Oh, brightest star, familiar name and face. Very tabah to have you here. Chris, Kimora Rose, okay? Luis Valdovinos. Bienvenido. Hashem Yahav Alahim. Shalom Baqarat. That's right. Yahweh is not Yahashua, nor is Yahweh Dah. Everybody running around talking about they want to be Judah. You want to be Jewish. You need to be running up with Yahweh. That's the door. Yahweh's door. Just like it's not Levi, it's Lava. Walk with me. Talk with me. Do not marry mushrik women until they become believers. A believing slave woman is better than a free mushrik woman, even though she may be more attractive to you. Mushrik, unbeliever. Likewise, do not marry mushrik men until they become believers. A believing slave is better than a free mushrik, even though he may be more pleasing to you. These mushrikeen invite you to the hellfire, while Allah invites you towards paradise and forgiveness by His grace. He makes His revelations clear to mankind so that they may take heed. Everybody running around here with that question about slavery. Well, it's true. There's a difference between chattel slavery and even the slavery that Muhammad was speaking on, even the slavery that Joseph was speaking on. Because he was not a slave. They messed that story up. He became an apprentice to a governor. I have yet to meet a slave who is second in command to a household. When the head of house is gone, Yasav was the head of the household. Slaves don't do that. Sherry GMA, I see you. Hashem Yahav Alahim. Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you. For everybody at the party. They ask you about menstruation. Tell them, this is a discomfort. Therefore, keep away from women. Do not have sexual intercourse during their menstrual periods, and do not approach them until they are clean again. When they have cleansed themselves, then you may approach them in the manner Allah has enjoined for you. Surely Allah loves those who turn to Him in repentance and love those who keep themselves clean. Your wives are your tilth, Tilth. So go to your tilth when you like. Take care of your future and refrain from the displeasure of Allah. Bear in mind that you shall meet Him in the hereafter. And give tabah news to the believers. Give lawful, holy, righteous, truthful news to the believers. Do not make Allah's name an excuse in your oaths against your dealing justly, behaving piously, and making peace between people. Allah hears and knows everything. Allah will not hold you accountable for what is inadvertent in your oaths, but He will hold you accountable for what you intended in your hearts. Allah is forgiving, forbearing. So you might say one thing to a person where you're thinking something else. Allah knows. And so when it turns out whichever way it does, when you tell them, oh, I didn't mean for that, but no. Later on, you will be judged for that. What do you say, odd trucker? Even a half lie, a half truth is a whole lie. That's right. If you shake hands with somebody and you make an agreement, however, you're thinking something completely different in your head, you're going to be judged off of what was in your head. Your word is your bond. So while you're speaking that to that person's going to hold you to what you said. Allah is going to hold you to what you're thinking. What you think, what you say, and what you do. Those who renounce conjugal relationships with their wives on oath have a limitation of 4 months. If they reconcile and restore their relationship, surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. But if they decide to divorce them, they may do so. Surely Allah hears and knows everything. Divorced women must keep themselves waiting for 3 menstrual periods. It is not lawful for them to hide what Allah has created in their wombs, if they believe in Allah and the last day. In such cases, their husbands have a right to take them back in that period if they desire reconciliation. Women have rights, similar to those exercised against them in an equitable manner. Although men have a degree of responsibility above them, Allah is mighty and wise. So why would you wait 3 menstrual periods? It takes about that long. It takes 3 months to see if a person is even showing. You might miss that first cycle. You might even miss the second due to anxiety. It's not going to always come regular. There might have been some serious things going on which caused you all to not want to live together. You're separated. And that's another stress which could cause a missed cycle. Yeah, there's a reason why this is not for children. I keep it adults. This is not those who are seeking milk and I forgot, but no, that's not what's going on here. I'm lactose intolerant, so you're not going to be getting fed milk. It's not for the babies. If you are a baby in faith, you about to get your grown-up pants dealing with me. The pronouncement of revocable divorce is only allowed twice. Then she should be allowed to stay with honor or let go with kindness after the 3rd pronouncement. Are we just trying to hold on to somebody just so nobody else can actually have a tabah wife, or so that she can have a tabah life? You don't hold someone back out of spite. You don't find a tabah wife and be a haram husband thinking that she's supposed to stay with you. It doesn't work that way. Deities given one. James Brown. Sebastian Lopez. Hashim Yahab Alahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. It is not lawful for you to take anything back which you have given them, except when both parties fear that they may not be able to follow the limits set by Allah. Then, if you fear that they both will not be able to keep the limits of Allah, there is no blame. If, by mutual agreement, the wife compensates the husband to obtain divorce. You know, when you enter into the marriage, the husband gives the dowry. So when it's time to close the divorce, it is only righteous that the wife should still be able to live as she was already living. According to culture, we would have a house, a garden, so on and so forth. Nowadays, people are splitting hairs over a mortgage and a leased automobile. Let's get back to principles, people. Walk with me, talk with me. So if a husband divorces his wife 3 times, it is not lawful for him to remarry her until after she has remarried another man. In case he divorces her, there is no blame on either of them if they reunite in marriage, provided they feel that they can keep the limits of Allah. These are the limits of Allah, which He makes clear to the people of understanding. You ever had that person in your life that you can't live without? Can't live with them, can't live without. They even go off somewhere else. But when they come back, y'all like processed cheese and plastic. Just there's provisions for that, because it does happen. Kohelet does talk about soul ties. It's a real thing. We're not supposed to be that messy. That's the point of this. If a man says, you can't be my wife. Wait, no, I want you back. You can't be my wife. No, I want you back. On that 3rd time, leave her alone. Because then you're playing. You're not living. You're playing. You're not being focused. If you have to break off something and absolve it to turn around and bring it back, it means you weren't focused the first time. And especially if you have to break it off a second time, talking about will it come back again? Recycling centers are a new thing. That was not going on back in the day. You don't recycle a relationship, because every time somebody comes back, there's going to be a change in the dynamics. It's not the same person that you met 16 years ago. And you two have gone through some things, so that imprint is there. And then when you get separated and you go off and do separate things, that makes an impact too by the time you come back. It's like a deposit of calcium has grown between you. Walk with me. Talk with me. Janu. Shimmy Havalahim Shalom Baqarat. Very glad to have you here. Big homie Blue. Adrian Queen. James Brown. I spoke to James Brown. Shimmy Havalahim Shalom Baqarat. Allahu Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon each and every one of you who have come to join the party. I'm in the midst of making an executive decision. I got to see what time it is first. We're just now making it to the top of the 1st hour. We gonna ride. Walk with me, talk with me. When you divorce women and they have reached the end of their waiting period, either allow them to stay with honor or let them go with kindness. But you should not retain them to harm them or to take undue advantage. If anyone does that, he wrongs his own soul. Do not take Allah's revelations as a joke. Remember that the favors of Allah upon you and the fact that He sent down the book and wisdom for your guidance. Fear Allah and know that Allah has knowledge of everything. When you have divorced women and they have reached the end of their waiting period, do not prevent them from marrying their prospective husbands if they have come to an honorable agreement. This is enjoined on everyone amongst you who believes in Allah and the last day. This is more virtuous and chaste for you. Allah knows what you do not know. The mothers shall breastfeed their offspring for 2 whole years if the father wishes the breastfeeding to be completed. The reasonable cost of their maintenance and clothing will be the responsibility of the child's father. No one should be charged with more than they can afford. Neither a mother should be made to suffer on account of her child, nor a father on account of his child. The father's heirs are under the same obligation. But if with mutual agreement they both decide to wean the child, there is no blame on them. If you decide to have a foster mother for your offspring, there is no blame on you, provided you pay what you have promised to pay in an honorable manner. Fear Allah and beware that Allah observes your actions. As for those of you who die and leave widows behind, let them abstain from marriage for 4 months and 10 days. When they have reached the end of this period, there is no blame on you for what they do for themselves in a decent manner. Allah is aware of what you do. When a person tells you that they are a Moor, short for Murrah, also known as Mullah, also known as Imam, also known as Kochelet, because you can preside over marriages, you'd be able to tell the person what those standards are. You'd be able to unify a couple. You'd be able to counsel them and then suggest alternatives before they decide to break things apart. That's a Murrah. I'm not a scientific Moor. I know science. I'm a Mullah. I'm a Murrah. I am an Imam. There is no blame on you if you make a proposal of marriage during their waiting period, openly, or keep it in your hearts. Allah knows that you will naturally cherish them in your hearts. However, be careful not to make any secret agreement. And if you wish to marry, speak to them in an honorable manner. Do not confirm the marriage tie until the prescribed waiting period expires. You should know that Allah is aware of what is in your hearts. So fear Him. Bear in mind that Allah is forbearing. There is no blame on you if you divorce women before the marriage is consummated or the dowry is settled. Pay them something anyhow, the rich man according to his means and the poor according to his, a reasonable amount in all fairness. This is an obligation on the righteous people. And if you divorce them before the marriage is consummated, but after the fixation of a dowry, give them half of their dowry. Give them half of their dowry unless the woman wants to waive it or the man, in whose hand is the marriage tie, agrees to forego and pay the dowry in full. To forego and give full dowry is closer to piety. Do not forget to show kindness to each other. Surely Allah observes your actions. Guard your salahs, obligatory prayers, especially the middle salah, and stand up with true devotion to Allah. If you are in danger, pray on foot or while riding. And when you are safe, remember Allah in the manner that He has taught you, which you did not know before. Ganan Yasharala, it's been a long time. Pastor Houston, familiar name and face. It's very tabah to have you both here. Mr. Stephen, I see you doing the cross-platform thing. Hashem Yahav Alahim, Shalom Baqarat, Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Warahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. We're reading through Jews 2, making our way to Jews 3. We are currently in Surah Al-Baqarah. It's the second surah. Don't be confused. Jews, J-U-Z. There are 30 sections in the Quran, equal divisions. They are meant to be read one per day. Those are the Jews. There are 114 surah. The surah are not the chapters. We're in the middle of a surah right now that's probably about 15 pages long. It's the second surah. The first surah is only 7 lines, 7 ayat. So we can't say that those 7 lines compare to 15 pages. The Jews are the chapters. Don't let people mislead you with false information. Just because you Googled it, that does not make it the truth. Those of you who die and leave widows should bequeath for them a year's maintenance without causing them to leave their homes. But if they leave the residence on their own, there is no blame on you for what they chose for themselves in a fair way. Allah is mighty, wise. Reasonable provisions must also be made for divorced women. That is an obligation upon those who fear Allah. That's how Allah makes His revelations clear to you so that you may understand. Have you reflected on the case of thousands of people, Israelites, who fled their homes for fear of death? Allah said to them, die, gave them death. Then He gave them life again. I had to wait for a second. YouTube is trying to pause on me. He said to them, die, gave them death. Then He gave them life again. Surely Allah is bountiful to mankind. But most of the people do not pay thanks. O believers, fight in the path of Allah without fear of death, and bear in mind that Allah hears and knows everything. Who will loan to Allah a beautiful loan which Allah will increase many-fold? Allah alone can decrease and increase wealth, and to Him you all shall return. Have you not reflected on what the leaders of the children of Israel demanded from one of their prophets after the death of Moses? Appoint for us a king, they said, and we will fight in the cause of Allah. The prophet replied, what if you refuse to fight when you are ordered to do so? Signal dropped on the YouTube side. There we go. What if you refuse to fight when you are ordered to do so? They replied, how could we refuse to fight in the cause of Allah, while we along with our children were driven out of our homes? But when, on their demand, they were ordered to fight, all refused except a few of them. Allah knows the wrongdoers. Their prophet told them, Allah has appointed Talut, Saul, to be your king. They replied, how can he be our king when some of us are more deserving than him? Besides, he is not rich. The prophet said, Allah has chosen him to rule over you and blessed him with knowledge and stature. Allah grants kingship to whom He pleases, and Allah has boundless knowledge. Furthermore, Yep. YouTube is mad at me. Do we care? No. As a matter of fact, I'll make a quick announcement before anything else changes up. Due to these recent technical difficulties, what's today? According to the Gregorian calendar, what is this? Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. If you don't know how to contact me on Discord, then that's your bad. Because I'm about to move this party over to Discord. That's the whole reason why I opened it up. If you want to sit around and complain because the signal keeps messing up on TikTok and it keeps messing up on YouTube, okay, well, you hang out on YouTube and TikTok. I know where there's a stable platform. I'm here because you are here. I got spit out from a marine animal's mouth, and I landed on the beach. And I saw a city in the distance. I went on up to that city, and I sat underneath this tree that happened to have a tower next to it.
Hey, Dad.
All right, now. You know, I've been broadcasting from that tower ever since. I spent about 3 months this summer running around this town making sure I had a signal. I'm not going to play games. I don't care about Web 2. I don't care about YouTube. I don't care about TikTok. I don't care about Google. I know of other platforms. I know of other means. And this is serious. I'm not on here to be popular. I'm on here because our mission is we're supposed to be making sure that the whole world knows the standard of Yahweh Elohim. Not, oh, I don't want to call myself this and I don't want to call myself that and I say it this way. Shut up and do some work. I will be broadcasting from Discord. I will do my best to make sure we can get the message out here on these platforms. However, I have no reason to be on these platforms. P-R-O-J-H. 3P Roj. Find me on Discord. 3P-R-O-J-H. Y'all out here looking silly. Yelling at each other, trying to talk about some verses, and you're not even applying them to life. You look silly. Wondering why nobody will come up and actually say they want to support. Because y'all don't support each other. You're too busy yelling back and forth, trying to see who looks more cute. Look at my fit. It ain't about, oh, it's not pastel and we're not doing Easter. No, you still worried about your fit. Take your fit out into the field and go start digging some dirt and put some seeds in it. Let's see how long that fit lasts. You keep talking about you're going to have your tassels hanging off. How about you go put in some work until your clothes are actually torn? Go put in some work until your clothes are torn. Talking about making sure it's hanging off of the four corners. Your body ain't got four corners. The only time you got some corners on you is when your elbows and your knees are bending, and that better be when you getting down prostrate and praying. You shouldn't be worried about no tassels then. Yeah, I said it. And every time you come around me, I'm gonna say it. Like I said, I'm not here for the milk and all of that. I'm lactose tolerant. If you are a baby, you better go find somebody who's gonna coddle you. Because I'm not the one. So like I said, due to these technical difficulties and due to the fact that I'm not getting the support that I should be getting, because I ain't talking about, oh, why ain't y'all supporting me? I'm bringing the truth. No, you should be supporting me just as much as you support each other, and you ain't doing that part either. Yes, I said it. And I'm going to keep saying it. You need to be supporting me. You need to be supporting each other. And you need to be outward about it. People should not have to beg you for a phone call. My information's out there. If I came and rang on your phone and knocked on your door 10 or 15 times every day, you'd say that I was being bothersome. Even though it's something for your benefit. So I'm putting it on you. Call me. Yeah, I sound real irate. You know why? Because when I was 5 years old, I prayed about this. And I've spent the last 44 years of my life doing something about it every day. He can't be king. He ain't rich. Furthermore, their prophet told them, the sign of his appointment as a king is that there will come to you the chest. For every technical difficulty, it's just another goal accomplished. All right. Dirty Hands, Tina Ellis, see you. Drip Pack, see you. Ashim Yahav Alahim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Got my eye on the skies. It's dark and overcast around here. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who is catching this message. Like I said earlier, if you want to say that you're going on strike from buying things, that means that you are employed to be a consumer. And if you call yourself boycotting something, if you call yourself boycotting something, you don't make an announcement. You just go ahead and provide the sources that you need, and you really just say, Shukran Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala, thank you for the sustenance and mercy. And you learn how to actually grow your own food instead of figuring out how to spend $5 at the store. Like I was saying earlier, I do have friends who grow tea. I'm just not around them right now. If I was, I'd be trying to find a way to get some green tea from them. Furthermore, their prophet told them, the sign of his appointment as a king is that there will come to you the chest in which there is tranquility from your Rabb, the residue of relics which the family of Moses and the family of Harun left behind, Moses and Aaron. And the chest will be carried by angels. Surely therein is a sign for you if you are true believers. This chest, if you hadn't put the clues together, this chest is the one that had the cherubim and the ornaments and whatnot on it. The Ark of the Covenant. The miracle of the stories in these surahs is the fact that Prophet Muhammad would have had to have had direct connection with someone from the house of Yahshua to know these details. This was not common knowledge in Mecca. This was not common knowledge in Farsi, in the land of Persia. You had to be from the house of Yahshua to know these laws and standards. This is not what the people were practicing in Mecca. Even though Ibrahim and Ishmael had brought the laws and standards. This is 2,000 years later. This is 4,000 years later. After Ibrahim. I'm shutting down the live over on YouTube. They're having a field day trying to figure out what they're going to do with my device. It's not just YouTube. It ain't YouTube. YouTube is affiliated with Google. I don't say, oh, TikTok shut me down. Let's go over to YouTube. No, all of them. All of them deserve scrutiny. There's a reason why I told you, find me on Discord. You get sharp enough, you can find me on the social world. When Talut saw marched forth with his army, he said, Allah will test you at a certain river. Anyone who will drink from its water shall cease to be my soldier, and those who will not drink to quench their thirst with its water except a sip or so from the hollow of their hands shall fight on my side. They all drank from it, in spite of this warning, except a few of them. When he and those who believed with him crossed the river, they said, we have no power left this day against Jalut, Goliath, and his warriors. But the believers, who knew they would meet Allah, replied, it has often happened that a small group, by the grace of Allah, has vanquished a mighty army. Allah is with those who endure with patience. When they advanced to face Jalut, Goliath, and his warriors, they prayed, our Rabb, fill our hearts with steadfastness, make our steps firm, and help us, give us victory against the unbelievers. They put the unbelievers to flight by the leave of Allah, and David, Dawood, killed Jalut. Allah gave Dawood the kingdom and wisdom, Dawood, and taught him what else he pleased. If Allah had not been repelling one set of people by the might of others, there would indeed be disorder on earth. But Allah is gracious to all the worlds. These are the revelations of Allah. We recite them to you in truth. Surely you, O Muhammad, are one of our Rasuls. That's the end of Jews 2. Jews 3, we are still in Al-Baqarah. By the time Jews 3 ends, we will be in Surah Al-Imran. As a matter of fact, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got about 8 more pages, and we'll be going into Surah Al-Imran, which means that's about another 30-minute read. And before we get into that Imran, into that surah, there's an introduction. I'm going to read the whole introduction to Imran. It's important. It was important for me to read Al-Fatiha and Baqarat, but instead I had to go on and push the issue. We were way too far behind. We're on day 3 and just now about to get to the 3rd Jews. Now, also keep in mind, though, I'm pushing it like that because I know that's the way that it's supposed to go. I'm also of the understanding that since we're going through and learning this and studying it, please know something. You can either study during your downtime through the day, read the Jews, And really, it's preferred that you go through your whole day doing all the stuff you're doing, you're worshiping. And so by the time you get home, you've eaten and everything else, and you've done your prayer for the night. Then you study before you go to sleep. That way you've got your mind set. By the time you go to sleep and when you wake up, you're going to be thinking about the last thing you had studied. And you reflect on that throughout the day. That's your worship. That's your prayer. That's your meditation. Everything that you had read the night before. Because these are laws. I know you're hearing it. The laws are there. The stories are there. The history is there. That's what these are. This is not some confusing text taking you all over the place. No, this is just happened here, and this is why. And it's not stories that are foreign to you. The sounds of the names might be a little different. It's also why I told you, you look real silly arguing over names. Do you really think Davad and Jalut stood in the middle of the field and argued on how you pronounce Philistine? No, Davad just said you are an uncircumcised Philistine. Excuse me. Let's go into Jews part 3. Walk with me, talk with me. These are the Rasuls which we have sent for the guidance of mankind. We have exalted some above others. To some Allah spoke directly. Others he raised high in ranks. To Isa, Yahashua, the son of Mary, we gave clear signs and supported him with the Holy Spirit. If Allah wanted, the people who received the clear signs would not have fought against each other, but they disputed. As a result, there were some who believed while others rejected. Yet, if Allah wanted, they would not have fought each other, but Allah does what He intends. The only way to purify something is you have to apply heat. And pressure. And time. O believers, spend out of the sustenance which we provided for you before the arrival of that day when there will be no bargaining, friendship, or intercession. It is the unbelievers who are wrongdoers. Allah, there is no deity but Him. They're putting deity there. And I'm going to break down what the phrase really is. La ilaha illallah. There is no one worthy of worship except Allah. Deity not included. He neither slumbers nor sleeps. To Him belongs all that is in the heavens and the earth. Who can intercede with Him without His permission? He knows what is before them and what is behind them. They cannot gain access to anything out of His knowledge except what He pleases. His throne is more vast than the heavens and the earth, and guarding of these both does not fatigue Him. He is the exalted, the supreme. There is no compulsion in religion. True guidance has been made clearly distinct from error. Therefore, whoever renounces tagut, false deities, shaitan, and believes in Allah has grasped the firm handhold that will never break. Allah, whose handhold you have grasped, hears all and knows all. Allah is the wali, protector of those who believe. He brings them out of the depth of darkness and leads them into light. As for the unbelievers, their wali, protector, is tagut, false deities, shaitan. He takes them out of the light and leads them into the depths of darkness. As a result, they will become the companions of the hellfire and shall live therein forever. Have you ever reflected upon the one, Nimrod, to whom Allah had given a kingdom, who argued with Ibrahim about his Rabb? When Ibrahim said, "My Rabb is he who has power to give life and to cause death," he replied, "I too have the power to give life and to cause death." Ibrahim said, "Well, Allah causes the sun to rise from the east. Just make it rise from the west." Thus, the unbeliever was confounded, and Allah does not guide the wrongdoers. Or take another example of the one Ezra, who passed by a town which had fallen down upon its roofs. He exclaimed, "How can Allah bring this dead township back to life?" Thereupon Allah caused him to die, and after 100 years brought him back to life. Allah asked, "How long did you remain here?" Ezra replied, "Perhaps a day or part of a day." Allah said, "Nay, you've remained here for 100 years. Now just have a look at your food and drink. They are not rotten. And then look at your donkey and see that his very bones have decayed. We have done this to make you a sign for mankind. Look at the bones of your donkey, how we bring them together and then clothe them with flesh and then bring him back to life." When this all was shown clearly to him, he said, "Now I know that Allah has power over everything." In the valley of dry bones. Paul Aj, Linda Gale Lee, Angel March, Clarky, see, Shumi Havalahim, Shalom Aparak, Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you, your families, and your circles. Yet another example is when Ibrahim said, "My Rabb, show me how you give life to the dead." He replied, "Have you no faith in this?" Ibrahim humbly submitted, "Yes, but I asked this to reassure my heart." Allah said, "Take 4 birds. Train them to follow your direction. Cut their bodies into pieces and scatter those pieces on hilltops. Then call them back. Allah will bring them back to life and they will come to you right away. Thus you will know that Allah is all-powerful and wise." The parable of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is that of a grain that sprouts into 7 ears, each bearing 100 grains. Allah gives manifold increase to whom He wishes. Allah has boundless knowledge. Those who spend their wealth in the cause of Allah and do not follow their charity with reminders of their generosity or injure the feeling of the recipient shall get their reward from their Rabb. They shall have nothing to fear or to grieve. Kind words and forgiveness are better than charity followed by injury. Allah is self-sufficient, forbearing. You ever hand somebody something and then hand them electric and go along with it? That's not righteous. O believers, do not make your charity worthless by reminders of your generosity or by injury to the recipient's feelings, like those who spend their wealth to be seen by people and believe neither in Allah nor in the last day. Their parable is like a hard, barren rock covered with a thin layer of soil. A heavy rain falls, leaving it just a bare stone. Such people will not gain any reward that they thought they had earned. Allah does not guide the unbelievers. You know what made me go off about tearing your clothes compared to wearing your clothes? Well, there was a town of people that heard the children of Yahshua coming along when they were traveling in the wilderness. And they said, wow, it sounds like the children of Yahashrael are a horde of locusts. And they tore their clothes in fear, worried that the children of Yahashrael were going to tear them asunder. So they tore their clothes to show them, hey, we're down like you. Put a pin in that. The example of those who spend their wealth to seek the pleasure of Allah and to strengthen their souls is like a garden on a high and fertile ground. When heavy rain falls on it, it yields up twice its normal produce, and if no rain falls, even a light moisture is sufficient. Whatever you do is in the sight of Allah. Would any of you like that his garden, which is full of palm trees, grapevines, and all kinds of fruits, and watered by running streams, be blasted and consumed by a fiery whirlwind at the time when he has become too old and his children are too feeble to earn anything? Thus, Allah makes his revelations clear to you so that you may ponder over them. In your youth, do righteous deeds. Teach righteous deeds to your progeny. That way there will be righteous storage. So if anything goes wrong, you still can lean on righteousness. If you decide you want to do whatever you want to do in your youth, and then you teach that to your progeny, then there's nothing for them to lean on in times of trouble, because you didn't teach them to lean on the standards. Almost Thomas. Mercury. Hashem Yahab Alahim Shalom Baqarat. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. We're in Surah Baqarat. Still working with Jews 3. Well, we've finally gotten into Jews 3. We're going to close out Surah Baqarat and read into the introduction of Imran. O believers, spend in Allah's way the best portion of the wealth you have lawfully earned and that which we have produced for you from the earth. And do not pick out for charity those worthless things that you yourselves would not accept, but with closed eyes. Bear in mind that Allah is self-sufficient, praiseworthy. Shaitan threatens you with poverty and prompts you to commit what is indecent, while Allah promises you his forgiveness and bounties, and Allah has boundless knowledge. He grants wisdom to whom he pleases, and whoever is granted wisdom is indeed given a great wealth. Yet none except people of understanding learn a lesson from it. Whatever you spend in charity or whatever vow you make, surely Allah knows it. The wrongdoers shall have no helpers. To give charity in public is tabah, but to give to the poor in private is better and will remove from you some of your sins. Allah is aware of your actions. O Prophet, you are not responsible for their guidance. It is Allah who guides whom he pleases. Whatever wealth you spend in charity, it is your own advantage, provided you give to seek the pleasure of Allah. Whatever wealth you spend for the sake of Allah will be paid back to you in full, and you will not be wronged. Charity is for those needy people who are engaged so much in the cause of Allah that they cannot move about in the land to earn their livelihood. The ignorant think that they are wealthy on account of their modest behavior. You can recognize them by their look because they do not make insistent demands on people. Whatever you spend on them, surely Allah knows it. Those who spend their wealth in charity by night and day, secretly and openly, they will have their reward from their Rabb. They shall have nothing to fear or to grieve. Those who live on usury will not rise up before Allah except like those who are driven to madness by the touch of Shaitan. That is because they say trading is no different than usury. But Allah has made trading lawful and usury unlawful. He who has received the admonition from his Rabb and has mended his way may keep his previous gains. Allah will be his judge. Those who turn back, repeat this crime, they shall be the inmates of hellfire, wherein they will live forever. 1,600 years ago, they could be sent to hell. Oh yeah, hell exists. Allah decreases usury and increases charity. Allah does not love any ungrateful sinner. Those who believe and do tabah deeds, establish salah, prayers, and give zakah, charity, will have their reward with their Rabb. They will have nothing to fear or to grieve. O you who have believed, fear Allah and waive what is still due to you from usury if you are indeed believers. If you fail to do so, war shall be declared against you by Allah and His Rasul. If you repent, you may retain your principal, causing no loss to debtor and suffering no loss. If the debtor is in a difficulty, grant him time till it is easy for him to repay. But if you waive the sum by way of charity, it will be better for you if you understand it. Fear the day when you shall return to Allah, when everyone shall be paid in full what they have earned, and none shall be dealt with unjustly. O believers, when you deal with each other in lending for a fixed period of time, put it in writing. Let a scribe write it down with justice between the parties. The scribe, who is given the gift of literacy by Allah, should not refuse to write. He is under obligation to write. Let him who incurs the liability, the debtor, dictate, fearing Allah his Rabb and not diminishing anything from the settlement. If the borrower is mentally unsound or weak or is unable to dictate himself, let the guardian of his interests dictate for him with justice. Let 2 witnesses from among you bear witness to all such documents. If 2 men cannot be found, then 1 man and 2 women of your choice should bear witness, so that if one of the women forgets anything, the other may remind her. The witnesses must not refuse when they are called upon to do so. You must not be averse to writing your contract for a future period, whether it is a small matter or big. This action is more just for you in the sight of Allah because it facilitates the establishment of evidence and is the best way to remove all doubts. But if it's a common commercial transaction concluded on the spot amongst yourselves, there is no blame on you if you do not put it in writing. You should have witnesses when you make commercial transactions. Let no harm be done to the scribe or witnesses, and if you do so, you shall be guilty of transgression. Fear Allah. It is Allah that teaches you, and Allah has knowledge of everything. You cannot coerce somebody into a debt. Did you get that? You cannot coerce a person into a debt that they cannot clear themselves from. We got standards. If you're on a journey and cannot find a scribe to write down the transaction, then transact your business by taking possession of a pledge. If one of you entrusts another with a pledge, let the trustee deliver the pledge property to its owner, and let him fear Allah, his Rabb. Do not conceal testimony, and whoever conceals it, his heart is surely sinful. Allah is aware of all your actions. To Allah belongs all that is in the heavens and the earth, whether you reveal what is in your minds or conceal it. Allah will call you to account for it. He, however, has full authority to pardon or punish anyone he pleases. Allah has complete power over everything. The Rasul has believed in the guidance which has been revealed to him from his Rabb, and so do the believers. They all believe in Allah, his angels, his books, and his Rasuls. They say, we do not discriminate against any one of his Rasuls. And they say, we hear and we obey. Grant us your forgiveness, O our Rabb, to you we shall all return. Allah does not burden any human being with more than he can bear. Everyone will enjoy the credit of his deeds and suffer the debits of his wrongdoings. The believers say, "Our Rabb, do not punish us if we forget or make a mistake. Our Rabb, do not place on us a burden as you placed on those before us. Our Rabb, lay not on us the kind of burden that we have no strength to bear. Pardon us, forgive us, have mercy on us. You are our protector. Help us against the unbelievers." Alhamdulillah. So ends Surah Al-Baqarat. All right. This is the introduction to Surah Al-Imran. Give me just a second. I need to take a couple of sips, catch my breath, Selah moment. Won't take long. We've got 2 pages to read, and we're going to go ahead and close out. I know I said that we would at least enter into Surah 3. However, I'm going to put it to you like this. I'm known for making executive decisions. Right? I believe we should reserve Surah 3 for its own day. I don't want to rush through about an hour and then cut it off. So we'll go into Surah 3, Adhan willing, tomorrow. We will still be pushing for 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going through some technical difficulties right now because I am doing the mission. I'm making sure that the message about the kingdom of Yahweh Elohim is spread all across the globe. It's not about making sure that everybody converts. It's about making sure that everybody knows it exists. And it takes more than one person, because we have to work interdependently to show that the kingdom actually exists. Because if you go back and you read Ezekiel, it tells you our Messiah is supposed to come back and sit in the throne in a city called Yahweh is there, because our Messiah is the prince. Yahweh Elohim is the king. Go read. Show yourself approved. And like I said, give me a minute. I need to take a little break. I'll be right back. Sit up. We've got dark skies, clouds. Not quite rain though, just dark clouds. Good vibrations, I see you. Unlimited, I see you. Ruel, I see you. Familiar name and face. Mercury, I see you. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Baqarat. Allahu assalamu alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you. All right, let's get into the introduction of Surah Imran. Period of revelation. This surah, revealed at Medina, consists of 3 discourses. The first discourse appears to have been revealed soon after the Battle of Badr. Now, when we were studying the 12 patriarchs, it was talking about a battle, and I mixed that one up. I thought it was the one that is mentioned now. The Battle of Badr is different. The Battle of Badr happened with Muhammad. The battle concerning the patriarchs, that was 4,000 years before. Okay. We'll say at least 2,000. Okay. That was a different battle. The second discourse was revealed in 9 AH after Hajj. So it's according to the Hajj calendar. When the deputation from the Christians of Najran visited the Prophet. The third discourse was revealed after the Battle of Uhud. Major issues, divine laws, and guidance. Allah's testimony about himself, decisive versus allegorical verses of the Quran. The true religion in the sight of Allah is only Islam. The only religion acceptable to Allah is Islam. Live Islam and die as a Muslim in order to get salvation. Followers of Isa, Yahashua, were Muslims. Birth of Maryam, Mary, Yahya, John, and Isa, Yahashua, peace be upon them. Mubala, calling for Allah's decision of the birth. Calling for Allah's decision if the birth of Yahashua is disputed. He was born without a father, as Adam, the first man, was born without parents, and Eve, first woman, was born without a mother. Life and death is from Allah. There is no escape from death. Those who are killed in the path of Allah are not dead, but alive. Muhammad, peace be upon him, Allahu salaihi wasalam, is no more than a Rasul, prophet of Allah. Prohibition to take the unbelievers as protectors. You run around talking about the police don't help you and the government don't help you. You're not supposed to take unbelievers as your protectors. What we got in here? Yakara, I see you. Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Aparah. Familiar name and face. Father's peace and mercy be upon you, your family, and your circle, Akata. Critical review and lessons taught during the Battle of Uhud. And also, the first house of Allah ever built on earth is that of Kaaba at Mecca. As in Surah Al-Baqarah, the Jews were invited to accept the guidance. Similarly, in this surah, the Christians are admonished to give up their erroneous beliefs and accept the guidance of the Quran. At the same time, the Muslims are instructed to nourish the virtues that may enable them to carry out their obligation of spreading the divine guidance. The believers had met with all sorts of trials and hardships about which they were forewarned in Surah Al-Baqarah. Even though they had come out victorious in the Battle of Badr, they were not out of danger yet. Their victory had aroused the enmity of all those powers in Arabia which were opposed to the Islamic movement. Threatening events had begun to appear on all sides, and the Muslims were in a perpetual state of fear and anxiety. This state of emergency was also adversely affecting its economy, which had already been badly disturbed by the influx of Muslim refugees from other places. What does that tell you? The day of Ashur is marked because it's the day that the sons of Korah disobeyed the standards of Yahweh Elohim, the day after Passover. Why is that important? Because the sons of Korah are the ones who went to run Persia, the Arabian Peninsula. The sons of Korah did not uphold the standards, and that's the reason why when Muhammad came along and said, "You're not upholding the standards," there was an issue. And he even came from a very affluent family that was part of that. He said, "You all are doing wrong." Once again, that's why this is a miracle in itself, because he was a voice speaking from a place where it was nothing but corruption. If there is one voice, then the whole place can be saved. Put a pin in that. The Jewish clans who lived in the suburbs of Medina started discarding the treaties of alliance which they had made with the Prophet at his arrival from Mecca. They had discarded the treaties to the extent that during the Battle of Badr, these people of the book sided with the pagan Quraysh. In spite of the fact that their fundamental articles of faith, such as oneness of Allah, prophethood, and life after death, were the same as those of the Muslims. After the Battle of Badr, they openly began to approach various Arab clans against the Muslims. Arab nomad against the Muslims. Muslims speak Farsi. There are many different Arab clans in the Farsi Peninsula. They're not all Muslims. They don't all speak Farsi. So these people of the book were going to go find all these people who were other clans to fight against the Muslims, because the people of the book had joined in with the Quraysh. The people of the book were going against the standards during this time. And this is about 600 to 800 years after our Messiah had walked the earth. Put a pin in that. The magnitude of the peril may be judged from the fact that even the life of the Prophet himself was always in danger. His companions used to sleep in their armor and keep watch at night to guard against any sudden attack. Whenever the Prophet happened to be out of sight, even for a short while, they would at once set out in search of him. Jews even approached the Quraysh and challenged their ego to avenge the defeat that they had suffered at Badr and promised to help them from within. As a result, the Quraysh marched against Medina with an army of 3,000 warriors, and a battle took place at the foot of Mount Uhud. The Prophet marched out of Medina with 1,000 men to fight the enemy. On their way to the battlefield, 300 hypocrites deserted the army and returned to Medina to discourage the believers. A small band of hypocrites, however, remained among the 700 who accompanied the Prophet. They played their part and did their best to create mischief and chaos in the ranks of the believers during the battle. This was the first clear indication of the fact that within the fold of Muslim community there were quite a large number of saboteurs who were always ready to conspire with the external enemies to harm their own brethren. Some people are comfortable with their oppressor. Some people are afraid of change. Violent change doesn't mean you have to shed blood. It just means that you change from what everybody else is doing that they call normal. That's a violent change. You don't gradually walk away. You immediately do it. Abruptly. Immediately. These devices of the hypocrites played a major role in the setback of Uhud, even though the weaknesses of the Muslims also contributed to it. The Muslims were a new community, formed on a new ideology, and had not as yet gotten thorough moral training. Naturally, in this second hard test of their physical and moral strength, some weaknesses came to the surface. That is why a detailed critical review of the Battle of Uhud is made in this surah, which was needed to warn the Muslims of their shortcomings and to issue instructions for their reform. Thus ends the introduction to Imran. I don't know if you caught it earlier. Imran is a surah where we will be discussing the lineage of Maryam, the mother of Yahushua HaMashiach. We're about to find out who HaMashiach's grandfather was. We're about to find out about two different Maryams. That's why there's a reference when it says Maryam and then it says Mary, mother of our Messiah. Because Moses' sister, her name was also Maryam. I'm looking forward as we explore deeper into the Quran. Family, even though we're not quite at the top of the hour, I am going to go ahead and put this one on the close. I'm not too happy with the difficulties with the signal. So there's some things I need to work on to make sure that both devices are working correctly. Normally we would be running through YouTube in order for me to be able to preserve these broadcasts and have them live in the playlist, or at least in the playlist. I'll get it right in a minute. That's another reason why I want to take a break, is because I've been talking for quite some time and I need my brain to rest. Along with the fact that we're in a loud location. I thank you all for your patience. I thank you for sticking around. I didn't hear what you said. When you see someone in need, don't go up and ask them if they need. If you can see it, that means you have empathy. So the next thing is to show your compassion and help them. That's love. Love is an action. You go help somebody else. Use the talents that you have. Be a vessel to help them out of a bad situation. You don't have to wait for a thank you. We're not doing it for that. Showing love in that capacity is actually the way to show that the kingdom of Yahweh Elohim exists. It's not about certain colors of bricks falling out of the sky, lining up to make four walls. It's not about a city with streets made out of gold metal. None of that means anything if there's no people there who actually have a pious heart. Don't get caught up in the false information. We have work to do. Yahweh Ahaba, our Father is love. Anava, humility. Be focused. Be occupied. And ready to respond immediately. Humility. Ametaba, Ametofo. That is how you would say compassion in either Chinese or Japanese. Hashtag, kindness is contagious. Go out there and be the reason somebody else has a smile on their face. When you're walking along and someone's coming out of a door, open the door for them. You're walking along, somebody's about to cross your path, stop. Then allow them to walk by. Then when you get ready to go, after you stop, think about this. Sustenance, textiles, occupations, and purpose. There's some work for you to do, Yahashariah. You run off to put in them job applications all the time. Yahweh Elohim is hiring. Always. There's no jobs over here. Get about your work. I look forward to hearing from you. Send me some resumes. Send me some business proposals.
so that we can make something active happen. Go after you stop. Y'all too busy arguing. You ain't figured out that you're supposed to have sustenance, textiles, occupation, and purpose. You so mad that the government told you you're going to take away your sustenance. The government is not the one that produces sustenance. The government goes on vacation and then comes back with a raise. Hashem Yahav Elohim Shalom Barak Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who has caught this message. Inshallah, we'll get back together again tomorrow. Many much love, peace, and respect.